Nobody really talks about how hard it is to manage employees. It's not just hiring people and assigning jobs. Cleaning businesses do not fail because of lack of work. They fail because of people problems. My favorite quote that I tell all my staff is, people do what you inspect, not what you expect. Employees will test your patience, leadership, systems. There's just a whole lot that we're going to tap into. So let's get the ball rolling. So the wrong way of hiring, which I think all of us are probably guilty of this, is hiring out of desperation. Getting that phone call, saying I'll meet you at the job, showing them the job and taking off. Another one is hiring based on because they seem nice, right? Or how they seem. Another, no clear expectations, no probation, no trial period. Those will all set you up for failure. Now, the right way, hiring for attitude over experience. Let me just tell you, I learned this the hard way. I was always looking for someone that had years of experience, someone that knew what they were doing, could bring their own skill and expertise in the cleaning side of things. And I thought that's great. Over the course of the years, I realized I much rather have an inexperienced cleaner and have our staff, our supervisors, our management team, our training person teach them how to clean the way that we want it cleaned. So I'd rather have them have a good attitude and we teach them how to do everything else than them bringing in all their experience but have a bad attitude. So I've experienced all of those situations, and let me tell you, I'd much rather have a person with a good attitude. Another thing is explaining expectations before day one. Meaning, this is the scope of work, this is the location, this is what we expect from you to get done. Before they're even hired or anything, you want to make sure you get those expectations out. Letting people know this is work, right? They're not gonna like everything. Some of the bathrooms might not be, as nice. Some of the rooms might be dirtier than others. This is work. It's not a favor. You're getting paid to do what you need to do. So letting that expectation from the beginning helps as well. Trial periods and performance-based continuations. So we do like quarterly bonuses. So we let them know, hey, there's going to be a 90-day trial period. After that 90 days, there might be an increase in wage, right? Your hourly wage. And from there, you can begin the process of getting access to monthly bonuses and also quarterly bonuses based on your performance. Those are like our main expectation points that we talk to that potential new hire. And it just gives everybody a baseline. So if in 90 days they don't make it, they don't survive, we have to let them go because we don't think that they're qualified, or, we vetted them long enough. We've never had any issues or even bad feedback, right? It's just kind of like, okay, However, when we didn't do it this way, I would immediately get backlash. What's going on? Why are you firing me? Why are you this, that, and the third? There's a whole bunch of issues. So it's really good to outline those clear expectations. Why employees don't respect the owner. Let's talk about it. Owners trying to be friends instead of leaders. I've been guilty of this, and I'm sure a lot of us have been guilty, where we genuinely care about our staff. So we have a rapport, they have our numbers, they text. You build a good rapport with your team, and now they feel like you're friends. But that's a massive mistake. We need to separate from the friend zone and we need to become leaders, right? Regular communication on personal stuff or anything that's outside of the business should pretty much not be a no-go. Inconsistent enforcement of rules. That's another thing. If some of the people respond to you or some of the people respond to your supervisors, if you have a supervisor, they're gonna get inconsistent messages unless you and the supervisor are very, very clear, or you are clear with all of your staff. So just understanding those boundaries. Letting one bad employee slide, ruining the whole team. I've done this, again, multiple times, where I've let somebody, because they're a decent cleaner, hang around too long, where they're making the other employees not so good as well. I mean, there's just a lot of commotion, a lot of stuff going on there. I've been guilty of it, and over the last few years, we've definitely just cut it out. I rather deal with the issue of having to replace that position than dealing with the toxicity that the staff can bring to each other. How respect comes from structure, not fear. So respect usually comes from the right process in place. A staff can feel like they understand what the boundaries are, your employee handbook, they understand the rules, the regulations. If anybody breaks them, they know that person has broken some of the rules. So therefore they're clear. They know that if they report it or anything in that nature, that they have no fear that they're in the wrong. So employee handbooks, massive. We're constantly updating ours. So there's always, it's kind of like laws, right? You figure out new ways and new things that you gotta keep implementing. So we implement pretty often. Employees just feel safer when rules are clear. Chaos equals turnover. And trust me, I was there. I know exactly what that looks like. But once we figured out the employee handbook, what are the rules, what are the regulations that we're gonna have in place, it's been a lot smoother. This one is training. It is not optional. This is massive in the cleaning industry. The problem that we have in our industry, we do not train enough. Most owners assume that at cleaning, it's common sense, right? Oh, you go in, you clean the bathroom. You go in, you clean the kitchen, whatever it is. If you're in residential, you clean bedrooms and so on and so forth. Everyone has a different standard for how they view cleaning. That's a point of sales. You can sell to a client your structure. Hey, this is how we clean a bathroom, top to bottom. Have your own process, your own system in place that you let the client know, or potential client. And that could be a massive selling point, and it can separate you from the rest. Most companies are not, and I know you're probably in there because I was in there, don't have a training process for your staff. We're going to talk about a little bit about lack of training. That usually creates, you guys know it all too well, callbacks, right? Or that used to be a term. Now it's kind of like complaints. Burnout, a resentment, especially from your staff. It can hit on your profit margin as well, right? Because if you're sending the staff back, you probably got to pay them again. You probably are discounting, the service. So there's just a lot of things that happen if you don't have the right process in place. Your training should include how to clean, color coordinating your rags. So if you're doing yellow rags for multi-surface or blue rags for multi-surface, if you're using green rags for whatever you're using those for, your red rags, if you guys are color coordinating your rags, everyone should know what that process is, right? Have it on an SOP. ChatGPT can help you create an SOP for all of that stuff in Spanish and in English. That would be awesome. Step one, understanding how to clean, what products you're using. So this is a multi-purpose cleaner. This is a wood cleaner, so on and so forth, stainless steel. It sounds really basic, but it's so important. I'll give you a quick story. I had a staff member about 10 years ago. This gentleman loved to mix bleach with all products, including household products, including all this other stuff. He would mix a tiny bit and just say, oh, just a tiny bit makes everything great and so on and so forth. You're not a chemist, right? You can't mix products and chemicals with each other because you don't know how they're going to react to each other. They're different. It's just a massive problem, right? We didn't realize that he had mixed chemicals at the time, but we put it over a wood desk. And over time, Clorox will mess up wood desk or anything wood, really. Makes it like opaque and it's just bad. Those are the types of things where it's like, hey, you follow the protocols or procedures. If we had those at that time, we could have easily terminated his employment. We could have done, quite a few different things to remedy the situation and allow the client to understand our process and their systems and whatever and why it would have happened. Now, you can't control everybody from doing that, right? They might still do it on their own. But if you have something to show that client, hey, look, this is our SOP. This is exactly what he should have been doing. We trained them on this. We can't stop people from doing what they're going to do. Now it holds a little bit of weight, right? The client knows, well, they did what they had to do. The employee just did what he wanted to do. It holds you to a higher standard and clients really appreciate that. The training should also include how to show up, right? So if you're in residential, you're coming in with your caddy, you're coming in with your vacuum, you're coming in with your mopping solutions, or is there a clear communication with the client that you're using their product and so on and so forth? Your SOP and your training should reflect what that is, right? And if it's different every single time, then there needs to be an SOP for each. How to communicate. So if a client has an issue, are they taking it up with the cleaner? What should the cleaner say or do? There should be some points that they can speak on. If they don't speak English by chance, then they should understand, hey, this is the number of our supervisor that you can call and you can take up the issue. Regardless of what, there should be some communication in that training process to let either the client know or let the staff know that reach out to your supervisor to address that issue and reach out to the customer. How to handle mistakes, right? So if I've had this plenty of times, if a staff member has an issue, what should they do? How should they do that process, right? Do they contact their supervisors? Do they contact their managers? Do they try to figure it out themselves? What should they do? That should definitely be in the training. What happens if standards aren't met? So if they know, hey, these are the KPIs for this location, right? I think ours are 80%. So if we go in and we do an inspection and you're below 80%, then you're going to get written up. So they need to be clear on that. Hey, we're going to be doing an inspection every week, every 2 weeks, whatever the amount of time you're going to be doing inspections. And for residential, if it's every 2 days, 3 days, I'm not sure. But however you're going to structure it, the staff needs to know. These are the clear KPIs of what you need to hit to continue to perform and pass your inspections. And we do have a performance tied to those inspections, right? So if you pass those inspections week after week or bi-weekly after bi-weekly, whatever your structure is, then you qualify for a monthly bonus or quarterly bonus, right? So if you didn't meet the monthly one, you still have an opportunity to get the quarterly, right? And if you met the monthly and the quarterly, there's more of a bonus, right? They should have that clear understanding of how the standards are if they're not met. Accountability without being a jerk. Clear metrics, so attendance, quality, attitude, documenting issues. I couldn't tell you how many times we've had issues with staff members, whether it's injury, whether it's allergic reactions, whether it's things that no one documented, but later came as of, hey, this happened to me at work. And this, when it comes to insurance and all this stuff that comes with those types of issues, you need to have clear documentations. It doesn't even matter if you have one staff member, if there's anything that happens to that staff member and you have no documentation, insurances will fight you to the tooth and nail. Addressing problems early, not after multiple chances. So for example, if you see that this person is doing this, keep an eye on them, track them, understand, is this a behavioral thing? Is this a consistency thing? Don't try to address it after they've done it multiple times. I think it's a famous quote that says, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Second time for me, you're done, right? I'm not giving you a third time, right? Because now it's on me. Coaching versus enabling. The difference of this is really, it's big, right? Because coaching, you can coach somebody through a process, a situation, whether it's your supervisors, whether it's your managers, whether it's your cleaning staff. They might have made a mistake and they don't know how to deal with it, so their emotions are up and down. So coaching them through that mistake, giving them the confidence that it's okay, or certain situations. Now, enabling is if they keep on doing it and you're just like, it's okay, you're gonna get it, right? There's a difference between the coaching and the enabling part. They have to learn from their mistakes, or they have to learn even from their wins, what to do and what not to do. Accountability isn't punishment, it's just clarity. Understanding that difference is huge when it comes to managing your team. We're gonna talk about a topic that I haven't heard many people talk about, but when to let someone go and why it's okay. So red flags, you should never ignore. So repeat no-shows. I mean, if you no-show once, you're pretty much canned. Blaming everyone else. If you go in, and it's funny, I have a 12-year-old going on 12-year-old, and everything is someone else's fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault, right? So if I hear any of my staff, it's not my fault. It becomes a blaming others for something that you have to have some accountability for, right? Even if it's not your fault, especially in locations where we have multiple locations where we have multiple staff members. So it's on somebody else. It's on somebody else. I like to live on the philosophy of you see it, you own it. So it doesn't matter if you're in somebody else's building. It doesn't matter if you're taking care of something else for somebody else. You see a piece of trash on the floor, you've seen it, you own it, you pick it up, you throw it out. Blaming everyone else, that's a red flag for me. Bad attitudes, that's from our hiring process. We eliminate bad attitudes. If they have bad attitudes, it doesn't even matter how much the experience they have, they're just not gonna get hired. Disrespect towards clients. I have had multiple staff members disrespect clients. That is an immediate red flag. Immediately terminate. That's unacceptable. We're providing a service to them. They're the ones that are paying your salaries. We have to treat them with dignity and respect, and everyone, not just our clients, right? But if you're going to be someone that's disrespectful, we can't tolerate it. Keeping the wrong employee costs more than firing them. This is massive truth. We have spent a lot of money on hiring and training and doing all of that. So the hiring process is so important to save some of that money, right? Because go through the process of rehiring somebody, training them, investment, how much time, energy, effort it takes to do all of that, it's not worth it. However, it is if that person is disrespectfful, blaming others, has a bad attitude, right? These things you might have not seen because we're not perfect, right? You might have not seen this in the beginning, but now all of a sudden they do. That can cost you more, especially in bigger accounts. It's like some of our bigger accounts, I've had people for years, 6 years, 5 years. I can tell you a quick story. I had someone who was with me for 6 years, full-time staff member. Husband was going through some medical issues, assisted through that, gave her more work, provided so they can handle everything that they did. Fast forward a year and some change, everything's all set. They're fine, healthy, all of that. And all of a sudden, her behavior changed and now giving attitude, not wanting to work, saying it's too much work. Meanwhile, she's been in that location for 2 years. Doesn't want to respect her supervisors. It just completely changed. There are scenarios that you can go through this entire process and somebody will fool you. It's just better to move on. And we did in that situation. So one toxic employee can destroy your morale, your culture, your client's trust. I've had plenty of these conversations with our clients. You just do not want to get into that. You're better off just replacing, even if you have to figure out how you're gonna fill that position. There's many things you could do. So you gotta build a team, not just a staff. So like we're always inclusive with our team. You're not just our staff, we are a team. Right? So when somebody has to, let's just say you fired somebody, other people have to pick up the slack. Hey, I'm going to be taking on this. I'm going to take on this. And that's super important because it makes everybody feel, okay, well, if something was to happen, I know the team has it, right? They have a medical emergency. They have to take vacation. They have to do anything that they need to do. Just having the confidence that you have a team behind you helps, especially with your staff. Creating growth paths, this is huge, right? So if you have a cleaner, they want to be motivated, right? They want to become a lead, they want to become a supervisor, maybe even possibly a trainer. Bonuses, those are all great. Those are all great incentives, raises, increases, but people also want to grow in their career. And whether it's with you, whether it's with someone else, whether it's just a higher position in the future, they want to go up that ladder. Recognizing good employees, whether it's plaques or gift cards or anything like that, just recognizing employee of the month. We've just recently got into doing the social media posts, employee of the month, or their birthdays or anything like that, which we'll be rolling out a lot more. Fair pay, respect, and structure. Those are 3 really important topics. Fair pay, every time we're going to bid out a job, we always want to talk to the potential customer, right, lead, that we want to be able to compensate people well for the job that a lot of people don't do well, right? Let's face it, I've gotten complaints from a lot of people. We've had a lot of staff over the years. When you have a good staff member, you want to make sure that they're being compensated fairly. Some clients, they're not going to fall for it, right? Or leads, or they can only pay what they can pay. But it's always good to possibly bring that to the table. Respect, right? Everybody wants to get respect. Everybody takes pride in what they do. It's always good to have that open communication with your staff members. Structure, again, SOPs, everything that you've been talking about so far. That clear structure will help that cleaning tech, supervisor, trainer, whoever it is, to do their job to the best of their abilities and just understand what the process is. Another thing with structure, when you find really good staff members and you lose them, it's because they won't stay in chaos. So you can hire the best supervisor, manager, cleaner, floor tech, trainer, lead, whoever. But if they're in chaos, if there's no structure, they're gonna leave. I've experienced this, especially in my early years. I've had good people and they leave, and I try to, speak to them. Why is it this, that, and the third? Sometimes they'll say it, sometimes they won't, whatever. But the good thing is that if you build that structure, they'll have something to hang on. It might not be perfect, but at least it gives them that structure and that understanding. If you want freedom in your business, you have to become a better leader. Systems manage people. People don't manage chaos. What's your biggest employee headache right now? Post it in the comments. Thank you guys for checking out this episode. Tune back in. We'll have some more episodes coming up in these topics. We'll also have some for building supervisors, firing without guilt. We'll have a couple of those episodes coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments as well what you guys want to hear. We'll cover a bunch of different topics. Check you guys out on the next one.